Hello, everyone. I want to thank all of the organizers for having me today. I'm very excited. My name is Adi. I'm a product manager. I'm working at Moonee for 3 years. Moonee is a publishing company. And today we're going to talk about the evolution of mobile puzzle games. So, why evolution, first of all? So, puzzle games and all games on mobile have changed over the years. And when it changed, it was because of market needs and market changes. And we are going to discuss the multiple stages and understand why this evolution started in the first place, right? So we are going to discuss few eras. We have the golden era when we first have the first mobile puzzle games ever, the Great Split, where we have the hyper casual and the pure casual games. And then we're going to enter the hybrid casual era, and then we are going to predict together what will come next, actually. So let's start with the most innocent days, the first games on mobile. Um, Games were made for only joy, basically. They came from originality. You couldn't see one game like the other. Every new game was totally different from each other. And when the studios created these games, they didn't think of like what is the best product model, what is the best monetization method. They were like, maybe indie gamers, indie makers, like, okay, let's make a cool game and see what happens. And another interesting thing, there was barely any user acquisition. Most of the traffic was totally organic. But then we have Candy Crush. Now, Candy Crush did many interesting things. First of all, Candy Crush wasn't an innovation in terms of game mechanics. Match 3, when you swipe up and down, they weren't the first ones to do this. But they were smart enough to take these mechanics, the core gameplay mechanics, and make it much, much better. And how so? So, first of all, the whole progression and polish was amazing. And they also started with the game on Facebook, and then they took all of the traffic from Facebook to mobile. But in my opinion, the most interesting thing was how they engineer frustration. Now, you all know there's a term called level difficulty. So they were the ones to take it to the next stage, to analyze the level funnels, to know exactly where they want to put this extremely difficult level. And this is how we actually start to monetize the players. They monetized through boosters, through revives. And they were actually the first mega hit to do so. So in this case, monetization wasn't just added, it was architected into the core loop. So from this point, the market understands that games are a whole product that can be monetized over and over again. And here we're going to see two different approaches. We have the ads first, the famous hyper casual, and then there we have the in-app first, the pure casual games. And this is what we call the great split. So these two strategies are totally different. The games that we are seeing are totally different. We have the hyper casual games. We have fast production. Studios can make games in 2 or 3 weeks. We have fun per second and minimal retention focus. Players could play for a few days. You show them few ads, and then voila, you're profitable. How fun! CPI and CTR is king. If you know and remember the Facebook CPI wars, I remember. And industrial scale cloning everything all the time. And we have the casual games, which have high production cost. Working on these games for months, sometimes a year, we have lifetime value and retention-driven design. We are aiming to see day 180 a year. You see the profit even after 2 years in some cases. Here you care about ARPU and ROAS. And also here you have industrial scale cloning. Now, the hyper casual peak. We had some very good years with hyper casual, mostly during COVID. We see Voodoo, Rolik, Crazy Labs, Supersonic reaching the top charts. Woo, I don't know. Again, the CPI wars. And publishers are testing hundreds of prototypes each month. It's something that wasn't heard of until the hyper casual era. And you could also see here the portion of the hyper casual out of all of the downloads growing and growing. But after the rise, there's also the fall. After COVID, we get CPI inflation. Acquiring users wasn't as cheap as before. Also, after COVID, we went back to lower CPM. So that's caused profit margin collapse. Now, remember the low playtime and retention? During COVID, people had nothing else to do but playing. So hyper casual had better retention and playtime. But then after COVID, the engagement decreased. Also, the newer platforms changed the way they are optimizing campaigns from day 0 to day 7 and then 28. So the hyper casual studios and publishers understood they need to change. And this is actually forcing a stage of evolution. This is what we're discussing. So what is the next stage of the evolution? The next stage is hybrid casual. Okay, so we had few problems with hyper. The problem was the low engagement, right? The low of monetization, actually barely any monetization from in-app, and few ad impressions. But they had a really good scale, so they were thinking how we combine the two. I mean, we're not going to make fully casual games now, right? What could be combined? And this is how they found out to do the hybrid, to take the depth of casual games, the meta features from casual games, but thinking and making puzzle games that are innovative, that are different than normal casual games that we know. So for example, Blockjam 1 was of the first successes in the hybrid era by Voodoo. And also in the hybrid, we saw two different approaches, okay? We have the ads heavy approach and we have the in-app heavy approach. Here you see two games. Mechanically wise, they are very, very similar. You tap on cards and you collect your stickmen, your customers. Okay, they're very, very similar, but they monetize completely different. Okay, so the ads heavy one by OneSoft, a Vietnamese publisher. So in this case, they say, okay, we are hybrid. We want to monetize also through in-app, also through ads, but the ads portion is going to be very, very heavy. That means that not only getting interstitials and banners, you need to see many rewarded videos during the level in order to be able to pass a level, starting from level 2. On the other hand, Crowd Express by Rolik, they do have interstitials, they do have rewarded, but much less placement because they want to push the players to buy more coin packages. So they are both hybrid, but I guess the ads and in-app portion is different. And now in 2025, what we are seeing, the hybrid games are becoming better and better and becoming closer to what we're seeing on full casual games in terms of visuals, in terms of meta systems, in terms of socials and monetization. So for example, this is the famous Royal Match. Here you see Magic Sword and Good Sword game. They're both hybrid, and you can see the level of polish, the amount of events they have. It's almost full casual. So the question that we need to ask is, what's next? What will come next? So the hybrid games, they do not monetize in-app as full casual games like Royal Match. It's quite obvious. But it's not necessarily a disadvantage. The hybrid games have something that the casual games don't have, which are ads. And with ads, you can have cash flow. You can generate income from day one. While on full casual games, it takes a long, long time. So we predict that what is going to happen is we're going to see hybrid becoming more casual in terms of wanting to have more in-app revenue income. And casual games are going to integrate more ads. And we already see it. For example, Candy Crush and Toon Blast, they have rewarded videos. So as I said, yes, the hybrid casual and the casual games are going to get a little bit closer. We're going to see hybrid games having bigger teams, bigger production for their games, taking their games a lot more seriously, like casual games. And we believe that new mechanics in the market won't be that important. The game will be on choosing the best performing mechanics and make it deeper and more meaningful for the player. So stop chasing innovative mechanics and start mastering long-term value. Thank you very much.